Mr. Speaker, not only is Christmas dinner going to be especially expensive if you buy it at the grocery store, now the government wants to ban people in rural countrysides from actually hunting for their turkey. They've targeted a long list of hunting rifles and shotguns with a sweeping ban that's being widely condemned by experts, by hunters, and by First Nations people. Now, the government has admitted in recent testimony that the ban will apply to hunting rifles. Contrary to prior talking points, will they reverse this ban?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, before I come to the answer of that question, tomorrow we're marking the 33rd anniversary of the Polytechnic Institute shooting tragedy. To the families of the victims and to the survivors, we stand with you. We know that despite the passage of time, that the hurt and the loss never completely heals. We owe it to you and to all victims and all Canadians to end gun violence once and for all, Mr. Speaker, and I hope all members in this chamber will join me in a moment of solidarity. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, of course, we are all in solidarity in ending violence committed with guns. In fact, today we saw an example of the real problem. Police seized 62 firearms in Toronto. 57 of them came from the United States of America. Only one of them was from Ontario, and it was stolen over a year ago. The problem is not the hunter who in Wainwright, Alberta, or Happy Valley, Goose Bay in the East Coast is using his tools to feed his family. The problem is illegal guns coming across the border. Why won't they reinforce our border instead of attacking our hunters?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, my Conservative colleague asks, what's the government doing to reinforce our borders? Investing $450 million over the last 2 years alone, Mr. Speaker, to add more boots to the ground for the CBSA, to add more state-of-the-art technology for the CBSA, to allow them to build on the progress that they've made in seizing illegal guns at the border. And what did the Conservatives do at every moment where they had a chance to support those resources to the CBSA? They voted against.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The results of their policy is a 32% increase in violent crime, a massive 92% increase in gang murders. No matter how expensive their policies are, and no matter how much they target law-abiding hunters, it's not getting the job done to protect our people. Donc, pourquoi le gouvernement ne veut-il pas?
Why doesn't the government want to help when it comes to targeting real crime instead of targeting our hunters and farmers? The Honourable Minister of Public Safety. Mr. Speaker, that's exactly what our government is doing. We have already invested $450 million to strengthen our border to help the Border Services Agency. And that's exactly what we're doing with our legislation to increase penalties for criminals. Why won't the Conservatives support that bill if they want to target organized crime?
Mr. Speaker, since the Liberals took office, violent crime has increased by 32%. Gang-related homicides increased by 92%. The Liberals aren't dealing with real problems. It's been some time that they've been unable to deal with illegal gun trafficking at the border. Instead of focusing on that, with Bloc support, the Liberals are targeting hundreds of thousands of hunters in Quebec who are practicing an ancient tradition. Why are they treating hunters like criminals? Why is the Liberal government not targeting real criminals once and for all? The Honourable Minister of Public Safety. From the beginning, our government was clear that we're not targeting hunters. We're targeting criminal elements. We're targeting assault weapons used in the worst tragedies in our country. And in Bill C-21, we're targeting criminal elements with more severe penalties, with investments, and the Conservatives are the ones not supporting this bill. They should change their position. Thank you.
In St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals continue to deny that they're going after Canadian hunters with their latest gun ban, but the ban list is out, and hunters across the country have seen many of their commonly used firearms on that list. Hunters from Quebec, from Ontario, the Prairies, the North, our Indigenous hunters are all speaking out. Even legendary Montreal Canadian goalie Carey Price is speaking out, Mr. Speaker. And the CBC in fact, just today said the list, quote, includes a number of long guns in wide use by Canadian farmers. So why won't the Liberals just admit that this was never about public safety and it was their target all along to go after law-abiding hunters, sports shooters, and farmers, Mr. Speaker? This was their plan all along.
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, with great respect for my colleague, the intent of the government has always been clear. We are not targeting law-abiding gun owners or hunters. We are targeting the AR-15 style guns which have been used in some of the worst shooting tragedies in this country's history, including Politik. But recently, the Conservatives' friends at the Coalition for Firearms Rights exploited the worst femicide in Canadian history for profit. This was a slap in the face to all of the families of the victims and the survivors of Polytechnique, and I'm wondering, will the Conservatives stand up now, condemn the CCFR, and ask them to apologize?
The Honourable Member for Fundy Royal.
Mr. Speaker, it seems the only person in this chamber that does not understand this bill is the minister himself. The bill lists in black and white the exact hunting rifles that the bill is banning. Constituents calling their members of parliament, both NDP and Liberal, they understand this bans hunting rifles. Carey Price, NHL goalie, understands it bans hunting rifles. The CBC, we know the Liberals read the CBC, they understand it bans hunting rifles. And we also know backbench Liberal MPs understand that this bill bans hunting rifles. You can't have it both ways. Either everyone else is wrong or
the Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'll be the first person to stand up and applaud the exemplary work of our rural caucus who defend the rights of hunters and collectors and recreational sports shooters every day. And the Conservatives can mock, Mr. Speaker, but our side of the House knows full well.
Order. Order. The Honourable Minister. Do it from the top, please.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. And before I was rudely interrupted by the Conservatives, and am again, I was highlighting the incredible work of our rural caucus and indeed of all of our caucus who understand the importance of the traditions of hunting. And I've met with them and will continue to be sure that we are not targeting those hunting guns, Mr. Speaker. That's why we're working closely with the members of the committee who are undertaking a very careful study of the language of that bill to make sure it is in alignment with our intent, which is to go after those AR-15 style firearms which were used in the likes of the Polytechnique. We never want another one of those tragedies again. Thank you.
Member for Fundy Royal.
Mr. Speaker, the minister has it all wrong. Everything he just said is contradicted by the actual text of the bill. Text that we understand, that Liberal backbenchers understand, that their constituents understand, but just because he says it so does not make it so. Their entire philosophy and approach to crime is flawed, Mr. Speaker. The evidence is in. Since they took office, violent crime up 32%, gang-related homicides up 90%, wow. Yet their plan to combat these things is to go after law-abiding hunters. They need to get their priorities straight, go after the gangsters, leave hunters alone.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister for... The Honourable Minister.
And I am one of those hunters, and I know I can speak for all the hunters in this room that we can't stand it when we see a firearm used, as we've heard earlier in Polytechnique, and take other innocent lives. Mr. Speaker, I would hope that we all want to work together to make this bill the best it can be. The terrible misuse of information that's out there has to stop, Mr. Speaker. I'm also going to tell you, I challenge anyone, please reach out with the specific make and model. The devil is in the details.